Welcome back to my channel. This video is the first I am making since the new Pocahontas update has been released to Disney Dreamlight Valley, and I am starting off with the update by creating a beautiful and natural home for the one and only Pocahontas. I am taking her Yehakin into the most charming corner of Eternity Isle, building her a lush home in the lagoon where the Pocahontas can reside just around the river bend. If you are interested in seeing how this build is made, then keep on watching. First off, great to be back. It's been a hot minute and I hope everyone's been enjoying this update so far. I have been really pleased with it personally, but I want to know down in the comments what your favorite part has been with the update so far. Now moving on to the build, I put her Yehakin by the waterfall at an angle, and I am using the new willow tree that is in the Elements of Nature's starpath side by side, almost like a blanket covering the back of her home. We will have a large water feature in this build that surrounds her home like an island, so I put one more willow tree down in the back before using the largest Neverland River Kit water pieces to create a thick moat. The river is big because I wanted to use that new algae water decoration, which only fits in the largest piece of the Neverland River Kit. Of course, leave a gap for the walkway and add 2 more trees in the spots that I show you just to finish off the general framing of the area. I'll use the tropical wood floors from Eternity Isle to create a bridge, and actually instead of going straight down, I do a zigzag pattern, and then I use this water pool piece to make clean cuts around the edges. So this item is the Moontide Glow Waves. It is one of Pocahontas' level 10 friendship quest rewards, and this item can be placed freely in existing bodies of water, but when it comes to the river kits, it is more limited in placement. So you can fit up to 2 of them at a time in the largest river kit piece. They're also a bit on the pricier side in Scrooge's store, so make sure you stock up on money before this build. The placement is much more free in other bodies of water, so I just covered that back lake with the Moontide Glow Waves. I go back in with the medium and smallest water pieces, and this step is optional, but I like to make the rivers look a little less squarish, so I add the pieces around the corners to give a more natural and rounded shape. Obviously this step is done more intuitively, but it is totally fine to leave it as it is right now in case you want it to be more rectangular. Moontide Glow banner is also from her level 10 quest, and I placed 2 of those on either side of the Yehakin before moving on with the resource that you will need a lot of, which is sunflowers. I actually end up using around 80 sunflowers total in the build, but that number is highly dependent on you. Also, big shout out to Hales for donating me some sunflowers, thank you very much. I definitely did not have that many sunflowers stocked up for myself. The placement isn't final, but I'm just scattering the flowers around to have somewhat face the same direction, but make it a little bit varied so it doesn't look too uniform. I am stacking the flowers with some beach grass in the empty spots, and it's fine to take away some flowers while you're layering. Like I said, it's not final, so I always drop some more flowers than I actually need. The final layer is stacking up these garden stones from the Oasis Retreat starpath, and just scatter the stones in the blank spaces that you see. So basically the combination is sunflowers, grass, and stones, and they're going to be a recurring theme throughout all the grassy areas in this whole lagoon area, just FYI. Right now I'm adding Moontide Glow lampposts, but I do swap them out later. They don't look bad per se, but the blue thing wrapped around it kinda just reminds me of silly string, but to each their own. Also in that area, I'm adding the Storyteller's Fire. It's also in Pocahontas' friendship tree early on, and fun fact, you can actually cycle through as many different colors as you want by interacting with it, so I thought it was just blue, but you can make purple, pink, green, or yellow, so the more you know. Where I had the outer willow trees, I decided to actually enclose it with the river kit and make mini islands. If you are concerned about getting materials that spawn there, you don't have to do this step, or I also just used the ancient vacuums. But on that note, if you are going to use a vacuum, be very careful to not accidentally pick up those sunflowers. That may or may not have happened to me several times while making this build, so be mindful of that. Oh, also any companions who pick up flowers, just keep them far away, please. I'm adding extra living bamboo clusters behind the tree and also in other spots. Not too many, but also it adds a little extra layer of foliage, and you know how much I love to crowd the back of my buildings with large greenery anyways, so it's just something that can't be helped. There is actually a rock node back there, but it's accessible from inside where the Yehakin is, and as far as the entrance of that ramp goes, I already finished Eternity Isle, so I really don't care about blocking it off. Now I am carving out a path with the sun-baked earthen road. I do start with the bordered version, but later decided to use the unpaved version to make it look more natural. I am making a path that goes towards the back where the teleport well will be, which will also branch off to the bridge area. Once I reach the well, I make a quick and rough roundabout and then change the shape of all to take away those rough square edges. You may also notice that I put the garden stones on top of the path, but I'm telling you right now that that will not stick. As I mentioned before, it will be scattered along the grass like it is by the house, so the path will be bare at the end. Now Now this is a very foliage heavy build, so the well area is actually pretty simple. I just once again layer with some grass and eventually some more sunflowers. I also do add in some ferns from the main valley and then a couple willow trees in the back. The large water feature that we made is almost looking a little too jagged, so I'm going to add in some border edge pieces to the very front. I won't use the bordered edges on the other side. This is just for appearances in the front so it doesn't look too square. Once again, feel free to skip this step if you're okay with it, and also it racks up the item limit just a tiny bit, but I think it's worth it to smoothen out the water. Now I thought this was pretty clever, but I'm going to combine the Moontide Glow banners from Pocahontas' quest along with the natural wood rafters that I picked up in Scrooge's store, and together those items can actually create a pretty decent makeshift pergola. So I lay out 3 banners and then I use a mixture of the natural wood horizontal rafters with the drying rafters, which are the same thing really, but one of them has dried foliage hanging underneath it. And you're just gonna create the beams across it to make the pergola shape. I'm pretty sure Scrooge's shop also just has the poles by itself that go with the set, so you can use those instead of the banner, but the banners have that pretty blue algae hanging from it and it looks nicer, so use whatever you have. And we will come back to this pergola in just a little bit. I decide to add in a natural wooden pergola pond from the premium shop bundle, and I essentially take out one of the large pieces to add it in there before enclosing it with the smaller water pieces, just to give the illusion that it is in the middle of the water. For the added effect, I do also put a simple touch of magic water rug underneath it, but it is not necessary, and I do have a shorts video showing how I made that rug. I feel like I've said this too many times already, but once more, this is optional. Not everyone might want to buy this pergola set from the premium shop, and you can do this step even with the makeshift one that I created just a few seconds ago, but I did feel like there needed to be something in this general area to make it less empty. Going back to that pergola, I decorate the back of it with the same bamboo trees and that one willow tree, and I use some more jungle planks on the outer edge. For the inside, I got some shelves from Pocahontas' friendship quest and other stuff like her baskets, and I create a little storage area for Pocahontas, sort of like her own personalized space. I also thought this floral fairy table, which is a Pixie Acres item, looked like it fit here as a counter space where I lay out some pottery from the Lion King collection. gap I made by the pathing and the teleport well area, and honestly, when in doubt, just add little ponds to fill in the space. So I make it as big as I could, and I use the bordered edges so that it hugs the path. I finally got rid of those garden stones from the path, thank goodness, and now for the more accurate look, I will do that same layering pattern, starting with the garden stones just plastered everywhere where it's green. Don't put too much right now since we still have to fit in some other stuff, so leave a good amount of space in between each stone. Oh, and also as a side note, I do have this Chair of the Chieftain item, which is Pocahontas' level 8 reward, and some mossy spiral pillars from Pixie Acres on either side. I'm putting down one more of these storyteller fires, but before that I actually create a small circular path with the bordered version of the sun-baked pathing, so just make a 3x3 square and then change the shape of all to create a kind of circle, and it creates a nice fitting stone pattern around that campfire. I layer up some more beach grass, mainly prioritizing the outer edges because they're kind of tall and I don't want the detail of other stuff to be lost. And then once more, drop the stacks of sunflowers and spread them out, and I even add sunflowers and grass to those mini islands I made with the willow trees, just so that every square inch of grass in the lagoon gets some love. I also use more ferns, and I do use a mixture of the forest and plaza ferns, I think, so there's two different greens going on. I wanted to add some logs by the fire so that the villagers can sit by them. I think it just creates a cute little moment. Then going back to the river, these canoe items are also in Pocahontas' friendship rewards, so I add like 3 of them to the river I made and then 1 in the pond in the back. For some extra detail in the water, I also used these orange water lilies, and I think these were in the Dapper Delight starpath when Tiana came into the game, but you can also use the pink ones in the underbrush section if you want. I actually replaced all of those Moontide lamps with the Eternity Isle's ancient wooden lamp posts. I think it just fits the vibe better, and I really could not look at that silly string lamp anymore. They were just not working. I hate that I forgot about this item until the very end, but I do squeeze in this picnic item that I got from Pocahontas as well. For the finishing touches, I just add a couple jungle butterfly fountains to the center, and then we're gonna add some floating decor. In the premium shop, I bought the Swirling Forest Leaves Duo, which was obviously necessary because I too wanted to hear the colors of the wind in my valley. I only put 2 of these by the house, sort of behind it so it wasn't too overwhelming, because honestly, why are they moving like hurricane level winds? I don't remember them being this aggressive in the movie, but it's whatever. Some other things I add are the aviary birds, which are unfortunately only available in this update's premium moonstone bundle, but in lieu of that you can use the butterflies or dragonflies that we got from the premium shop a while ago, or to be completely honest, this area already has a bunch of dragonflies flying around here for free, so this part is really optional. I also add in some fireflies from the Dapper's Delight starpath, and once you have all of these elements done, then you are done with the build. Thank you guys for watching the speed build, and I hope you guys enjoyed the process and the walkthrough at the end. I think it was really easy for me to just get lost in this build as I enjoyed it immensely, and I do feel like I did Pocahontas justice. So now she can honestly just go frolic around the river bend and whatnot. I hope this gives you the inspiration you need to do for Pocahontas and her home, or I hope you learned something new today to further your designing ambitions in the game. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!